For the time being, let's bring in Ed Yardeni, president of Yardeni Research, into the conversation. He's our first guest on the show. Mr. Yardeni, thanks very much for joining in. Always a pleasure having you on. So which camp are you in? Will 25 basis points get delivered in December?
I don't think so. I think the economic data is going to show that real GDP is coming in at something like 4% in the third quarter. The fourth quarter is going to be somewhat confusing with the government shutdown. But I think we're going to see the PPI this week come in a little bit on the hot side because I think tariffs continue to put some upward pressure on durable goods inflation. And I kind of stick with what Powell said at his press conference only a few weeks ago, and that was that a rate cut in December is not inevitable. He was kind of frustrated. He said, we've already done 150 basis points cut in the past year. Maybe it's time to just kind of pause again and see how things unfold. So I think that it's not inevitable that there's going to be a rate cut, even though the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York made it sound as though maybe things were changing at the top levels of the Fed.
All right. Hi, Ed. Good morning. Good to see you. And Ed, a quick question with regard to the cryptocurrency market. That's falling apart. Do you see any kind of contagion to the equity markets? Point number one. And the second factor is, you're clearly clear with regard to your stance on the Fed. But with the yen weakening, there is a growing concern that Japan may go ahead and raise rates. The yen carry trade then could face some disruption, and that could spill over into global equities. Do you think that's a risk?
Well, to start with your last question, I think that we've already, about a year ago, we had a stress test of the yen trade. These things can be cleaned up pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And I think yen traders have recognized that it's a volatile situation right now. They can't count on rates to be low in Japan. And they can't really predict where the currency is going to go. For now, it looks like it's going to go down. I do think that much of the weakness in the stock market last week related to the free fall in the crypto market, particularly in Bitcoin. A lot of people miss this, but back in July, the United States Congress and the president enacted a act called the Genius Act. And the Genius Act basically established stablecoin, dollar-based stablecoins that'll be backed by treasury bills. And that means Bitcoin really doesn't have a purpose as a transaction media, not that it ever was because it's so volatile. So that leaves it as a store of value, and that hasn't been so predictable. A couple of years ago, Bitcoin had a real fall, but then Wall Street and the Trump administration came in and took some actions that boosted the Bitcoin. I don't think they're going to do that again this time, or they've already done it. Let's put it that way. So I think Bitcoin is going to remain weak, but I think the Nasdaq increasingly is going to diverge from Bitcoin. They had been tracking each other very closely, but I don't think that continues.
Yeah. I mean, on a spectrum, I guess, Ed, right? There's technology, there's unprofitable technology, there is new age stuff, unproven stuff, and then there is Bitcoin, crypto, right? So in a way, it's the most speculative part of the spectrum. And it kind of just, maybe there's a sentiment, I mean, in terms of signaling effect, it's a sentiment indicator that maybe it's, I don't know if there's anything beyond that in terms of crypto, as you say, right? Well, in terms of signaling value.
Yeah, look, and at the beginning of the month, I did think that there might be a pullback in the market because the bull-bear ratio that I follow was extremely high. So I concluded there's too many bulls and we need some correcting in the sentiment, and that seems to be playing out quite well. In addition to that, as you mentioned, it's not just crypto. We also have everybody kind of conceding that we really don't know what's going on with the accounting for earnings by these companies that buy these NVIDIA GPU chips. We don't know how long the GPU chips can be used. There's some talk that, after 1 to 2 to 3 years, they're no good anymore. You might as well throw them out. and there's others saying, no, they'll be good for 5 to 6 years so they can be depreciated over that period of time. I think this has just become, let's be honest, this is a known unknown. Nobody really knows. And as a result of that, some of the excitement and froth in the AI trade has come out, and it may stay out for a little while.
The new thing was Google's Gemini 3 last week, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, right? Everyone just assumed that OpenAI and everyone around it is basically going to win this thing, this AI thing. And now suddenly you've got Google Gemini,
Yeah.
which basically is topping performance charts against ChatGPT, etc. And now it kind of throws everything into a tailspin once again. So one is not sure anymore who the winner is. So there's that aspect of this as well.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I was using ChatGPT. I was using the Copilot version that Microsoft has. And then a couple of days ago, I switched over to Gemini 3 for some more in-depth research. I mean, I'm using them all, and I'm using AI all day as a research tool. So I think that the winners are going to be the cloud providers. They are expanding their capacity as fast as they can because the demand for that capacity continues to increase. So I think if you have a diversified portfolio of AI stocks, you'll probably do all right. But I think they're due for a bit of a pause here, and I wouldn't be surprised if the market broadens out from the Magnificent Seven, which includes most of the hyperscalers, the big AI stocks. I think it can broaden out to what I call the impressive 493.
Yeah, no, absolutely. By the way, are you paying for Gemini or using the free one?
No, at this point, I'm not. I think it's kind of on a trial basis.
Okay.
And by the time I think about paying for it, maybe somebody will come out with an even better model.
There's a new Chinese one called Kimi, Kimi. I mean, which is also apparently all these things.
Like I said, I think the LLM, the companies that sell the large language models are not going to be the ones that make the money.
Yeah.
It'll be simply the cloud providers.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Ed. Great speaking with you. Thank you very much for joining us. Really a pleasure having you with us here on CNBC-TV18.